Okay, it stopped raining, so I'm going to try to finish. So there seems to be a lot of different products. So there's lots of different ways that you can run a cabling system for a deck. For the stairs, we're going to use lag hardware. So basically you just drill a pilot hole and then you screw in the lag. So that might be easier than having to drill all the way through a post, but it's been a lot of trial and error. I've never installed one of these before. Even after doing a lot of research, watching videos, it's still not straightforward. Just because of every deck is different, and you know, posts twist and move and all sorts of stuff. So, and this is a wraparound deck, so you have like 60, 40, and then another 30 in the back, all the way around. So trying to get all that level is tricky. But basically, we took our level from this post to that post and then all around, and then make sure that our top plate is the same and level all the way across. So that was the first step, and then you want 3 inches of spacing in between each row. That way a child cannot get through that opening. So you want to tighten this enough that it can't bend, or enough to hit more than 4 inches. So in this case it's 11 rows. Now I'm going to do a template that's a 2x4. I'm going to put it on one side, drill halfway, put it on the other side and drill again halfway. Let me show you real quick. So to release that, on is to the right, and then I crank that. When it's too tight, you can release it. Okay. All right, so I start with, I've got my cut line of cable. I've got the end piece because I'm going to use that for the interior of the staircase. So that's this one. All right, so that's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to crimp that one. And it has a shorter shaft. That way it's easier to remember that's the side you want to use. So this cable is ruining my life. It's insane. It fucking knocks over everything. Okay, it's about to rain. We gotta freaking move. Okay, so yeah, you can see you touch a cable and it launches your stuff all over the damn place. Okay, let's start again. So be careful. This cable flings itself and grabs your hardware and launches it underneath the deck in the dirt, so be mindful of that. So we're starting with this piece right here. It's got a short shaft that's going to go on the interior of the stairwell. It's a nicer looking finish. So I put that in all the way. Make sure my crimp tool is on. I'll crimp it a few times to get it close to fit. Crank down on this. That's 2. 3. That's 4. That's 5, and then release. Okay. So we get a washer and the end piece. Watch me fling these things again off the deck. Okay. So let's turn it over here. This is at the staircase. So I put it through the hole first. I put my washer. You can see that. Putting my washer. Oh, the tripod. Okay. Goes through the whole washer, and then I'll turn this, put it through there. Next. Okay. Next. Grab more of this. Bring it and pull it pretty taut. And I don't know if the beam moved a little bit or it's just curved, but I cut one of them a little short, so I had to do the whole row again. So if I cut it too short, it's not good. So, you know, roughly I want it to be like that. So it sticks out of the beam a little bit. There. Seems to be about 1.5 inches on the beam. That should work. Okay. So now I find the mark. And I squeeze this to get it started. And then I sit it on this beam. And then I take the hammer. That is the easiest way I could figure out how to cut it without it literally rip the skin off my thumb when I try to just do it that way. So I use the hammer, and that seems to do it, and it avoids me hurting myself. Okay, next, where are my needle nose? There they are. Okay, so if you can see the end here, like that. So you can see how they kind of turn. So take that, the needle nose, and just twist it to get them to line up, to fall in line. They sort of have like a memory. That'll make it easier to then slip it on if it gets a little bit frayed. You got to just take needle nose carefully and do that. Okay. Now I've got spacers, and I'm using these washers. Okay, and a spacer. So for this side of the beam, the post, okay, I'm gonna put my washer on first, right? That goes on first. And then I'm gonna put the spacer, and it's gonna face this way. So I've gotta put it on like this for this particular side. And if you're having an issue getting it on, use the needle nose and twist it in the direction of the braid. Okay. So washer there, that pulls through. That's it. Let's do the next one. I just put these in here, so I was just testing them out. So now I need this piece to go first. I need the spacer to go first. And it's going to be facing that way. So I'm going to put it facing this way this time. And then I'll have my washer. Okay. Then through the hole. Pull it through. Okay. Next, we're going to do the other side of the beam. So it's washer first, and then it's facing this way. So I put it on that way. Slide it through. Okay. Now, over here, so we're at the 1.5 inch mark. So that should be good. And I can just double check it. So we have, this is the end. So I'm going to go through the end of the run over there. I have this is the tensioner hardware. And you can notice it has a longer shaft. So the finish side of the stairs has a shorter shaft. Just keep that in mind because I wasn't paying attention and I crimped another finish on the end of this and I had to pull the whole thing out and start over. So you want this, and then we're going to go ahead and get that on, slide it on there, and we're going to crimp that. And I also, just in case, because that time I was short and I don't know why, I put it all the way on, and then I check to make sure I have enough threads on the other side to tighten. So I do. So now I'm going to crimp. I'm going to crimp this. It's a bit trial and error to get into sort of understanding how to do it, and then just double check that your cable didn't pull out when you're like doing stuff. And so it's in there. I kind of go for these because they stick out. I don't want to go too close to the edge, so I just go in, you know, like halfway. That seems to be pretty good. And I'm going to crank 1, 2. I think I might already crank it first. So that's 4. Let's see. I don't know if I can get another. Oh, I got 5. There you go. So I just turn that off so the hydraulic releases, and then I have my crimped end. I'll slide through the post, and I have enough threads to put the washer and then the nut on. Right now I'm not tightening these much, just in case there's any issue and you want to that way if you gotta for some reason take these out, I don't think you will. They're not so tight, but I got them, you know, they're a little tight. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So that's the key factor, is just knowing which hardware I'm putting on which side, and before I crimp, I double check. I'm making sure, I'm putting the right washer because it'll fit properly for each thing. And I'm checking my length over here to make sure I'm gonna be far enough with the hardware slid in to get through the post to the other side. And these cutters, it's really difficult to use, but if you hold it well and then hit it hard with the hammer, that seems to be the best way to do it. All right, so I'll do another run. So I'm gonna first crimp this again. This is the short shaft. The short shaft one. It goes on. I'm gonna crimp it. This one, I go pretty much in the middle of it. That's 1, 2, 3. 4. 5. Release the hydraulic and then turn it back on. Okay, I have my washer. I'll get some more slack for this thing. Okay, so that's crimped. I don't know if you can see. It's crimped. And now I'm going to bring it through. Washer goes on first. The right size one. Thread this pretty good. And that's it. Okay, now it's time to cut. So first, I've made marks on the post at 1.5 inches, so that seems to be pretty good. Okay. As you can see, I have a mark, and I put here, and I just start it, and then I'll put it in the wood block long ways, so that way it holds the thing. I'm gonna watch my hand, and then I'm gonna whack this. That's it. And it flies off. Okay. Get a washer. I have a spacer here already. Doesn't seem to want to come out. Okay. Terrible piece of junk. Can you not hit the phone? Okay, next I've got the threads. See the direction that they're going in, and I just want to keep them in that direction so that way I can get this on. So for here, washer's got to go on first, and this is going to be facing that way, so I'm going to put it on that way. If I'm having trouble, I just use the needle nose to try to get it to come together enough so this is easier to get on. Sometimes it just ends up being trickier. Come on. So I'll be a little more aggressive and see if that'll work. Okay. So, okay, washer first, and then spacer. Okay, and then do the next one. No, I gotta do, what do I gotta do first? No, I gotta use this. See, so that's gonna come first now. So I gotta squeeze that through first, then the washer. Then the wire. Pull it. Alright, on the other side of the post, another washer and a spacer. Washer first this time, and then it's going to be facing this way this time. And I think sometimes this thing does change by putting it through the hole, so I've got to fix it. Okay, now it's time for, again, the tensioner one. That's the long one. Okay, I take the top nut, I take this ridiculous washer off, I take this nut off, and then I'm going to crimp it. What I need for after I crimp it. So I'm going to slide it on. Yeah. Okay. When I'm going to crimp, just want to make sure it doesn't slide out on me. Double check that it's in there. Go in the middle. Start cranking it down. I think it's 2, 3. No, that must be 3. 4. I don't know if I'm getting tired or it's getting harder. Okay, turn it off. It may help if you have maybe a bar. You better just to have a better one, a bigger one. Or maybe a metal bar on this would help make it easier for the 4th and 5th. Okay, so because I want to cover this, I'm going to put the big hole washer on first, okay? And one thing I forgot that I showed you last time, the last run, is before I crimp it, put it on and check that I have threads, enough threads on the other side. I should, because I made my mark, but before I had an issue. So because I have it threaded on the other side, I could turn that out a little bit, and that might give me what I need to actually get this on. It's okay right now, but the last time it wasn't. Okay, let's put this washer there. Looks decent. Okay, that's it. Have fun. Should be a blast.